Good morning. It is now Wednesday the 15th. I'm listening to NPR On Point, I think is the show that I'll try to listen to. I was so glad when that guy, Tom, whatever his name, was ousted from the show. I never liked him. I just could tell he was a lousy person. The way he was condescending to so many of the guests, and they didn't seem to even catch it. I caught it listening. So how's everyone doing? Again, you can let me know in the comments. It does seem to help. You folks are letting me know that the videos, besides me talking about my music, that this is a touch point. And I see that my videos, generally speaking, within 24 hours, at least 1,200 to 1,400 people have watched the videos. So I guess they're serving a purpose. Before I show my record, my order finally came in. Before I show that, I will say once again to folks who are new to the channel, I've been doing this for going on 10 years. This is not a service. I'm at home. This is my home. And so I will talk about what I want to talk about. Pure and simple. So it's like when you watch this, you're like a guest in my home. So please act like a guest. Don't come up here showing your ass to me. Try to imagine meeting me and acting like that in real life. It wouldn't be. Would it be fun? Well, it wouldn't be because of me. I'm being myself. Nobody's coming over here directing my traffic. That coffee sure is good. Okay. So, I recently got turned on to, I don't like mail order. I like instant gratification when it comes to buying records, okay? I don't like waiting. That's why when I made albums, it got really excruciating, waiting. So my order finally came in yesterday. Some good records. They came in good shape. So let me show you what I got. I'm happy to say that I was able to buy these records because I'm on a very tight budget being on Social Security. I was able to buy these records from the profits from my CD 2020. Really happy about that. So I was able to buy some records. So what did I get? Nothing new. This is old stuff that I've been wanting in my collection on vinyl for a while. We'll start this with this one. The Italian progressive symphonic rock band Banco del Muchos Soccorso, Darwin. This is their first album. This is a reissue, a really nice reissue on 180 gram vinyl. Symphonic and progressive are definitely the words. Why do I like this music and I can't speak Italian? And the singer is singing like an Italian opera singer. It really is the total picture. They do musical shapes that I don't know where they're coming from. They don't sound like folk music. They don't sound like classical. A lot of this does sound classical. But they'll do other things where I guess they maybe thought it was jazz, but it's really something new. I really like that about this whole genre of music when it's done well. And this is a great album, Darwin. Yes, I have several other albums by Banco. This next one I had been dreaming about owning because I love the graphics, so I love the music too. I've had it on a burned CD for a long time. And originals are hard to find. You can get them through Discogs, but I have had bad luck with Discogs. No discredit to good sellers. I've just bought on Discogs several times, and several of those buys, the grading wasn't correct. The records were in worse shape than they said they were. I was disappointed. So anyway, French band. I just showed you their other album, Tertio. This is their first album, Atoll, Musicians, Magiciens. I love that artwork, and particularly I love the color scheme, the yellow, and the way it works with the beautiful painting. This is a wonderful album. It's really good. Again, it's not about the language, it's the music. Now, whatever they're singing about, I like the voices on this a lot. But I really like the music. One of the things that I like about progressive rock music is people have never talked about, and I mean never, I've really never read that I can remember a review of a good progressive rock album where they point out how funky some of these bands are. They're not trying to emulate black music, which they're just playing good rhythms, funky rhythms, which I pick up on. It's like in this album, Atoll, not all of it. But, for example, the title track, Magicians, Musicians, once it gets past the opening riff, it gets into this really funky groove that you'll miss because there's so much going on the way they're playing it. I think that's why people don't notice how black influenced progressive rock actually is in some ways. I love it because I feel it and hear it in a lot of the good stuff. I was dreaming about getting this album just so I could look at this big like this. See, playing records, even beyond CDs, streaming music online and playing it on your computer, there's no comparison for me to playing records. This is interactive, and it's like reading a book almost. Records are the best. They really are. Okay, this is the one newer release that I got in this bunch. Magma, Slag, Tanz. I think this is a newer album of theirs that came out in like 2015. I love Magma. Now I noticed in the catalog when I was looking for stuff to buy that this new Magma album, the price was low. And I thought to myself, well, I don't know why, but I'm getting it. And the reason is it's an abbreviated version of this piece of music, Slag Tanz. They give you a download code, but when you buy the CD, you get the whole piece. That's fine with this. The thing about Magma is that their themes are very epic, big and grand, and the way they play them, they go on and they build and they build and they build. However, the themes are so powerful, in my opinion, that this really works when you just get an abbreviated 3-4 minutes as opposed to 10-15 minutes of it, and then they move to the next section. Great band. I love Magma. Here is a musician from, I'm pretty sure he's from Finland. Jazz musician, but he came to my attention through working with the rock band Wigwam. Eero Koivistoinen. This is a Labyrinth. I've been wanting to get some of his albums on vinyl for a while. I have most of his on CDRs. He's got a bunch of records, about 10 or 11. This is great European jazz, and it's European. The language of jazz is primarily Black American in origin, and so the foundation language of jazz is black culture, I would say, mostly. However, since music belongs to everyone, when jazz started to promulgate, or is that the right word, when it started to just go everywhere. There's a European school of jazz, and I like it. It's they're using the vocabulary that my people started, but it has its own flavor because of their culture, and I like that difference. This is a double album. This was marked down, so I got this for less than $20, brand new, sealed. Double album that comes with a 7-inch of, I think was unreleased. This is really good, and there's parts of it that almost could be on ECM. But see, that's what I like about this. It's not ECM jazz. It's this flavor. So I'm going to attribute it to these guys being from Finland. Eero, Koivistoinen. Really good. Real good. I got three more. I got another Magma. I used to have this and sold it. I sold some really good records. Attahk. Really strong. Christian Vander, I mean, he's such an intense looking dude. He was scary to me when I first got turned on to him. That intrigued me. The music's powerful. Whatever his personal deal is that gets him to make this music, I don't know what it is. I love the music. I'll say that much. Okay, these last two, just like the Atoll, Magiciens, been wanting these albums for decades. Literally have been wanting these albums for 10, 20, 30 years. Both of these are reissues because the originals are hard to come by, and usually they're either really beat up or really expensive. Wolfgang Downer, who we lost, who passed away, I think, last year. He had a band called Etc. I have their first album. Been wanting this one forever. Knirsch, with John Heisman from Coliseum and Larry Coryell. Isn't that a funky cover? I've always been drawn to the goofiness of that cover, and I said, man, I really want this album. And I'm not disappointed. I had heard it. I knew what this album sounded like. But like I said, it's different to drop the needle on it. And this is a really nice reissue. You know, we like to get originals. I say we, what I mean is many collectors, when possible, we would like to get the originals of these records. But these reissues, they're doing a wonderful job. Many of these labels, this is a long hair label here. And some of these labels are really doing a loving care job on these reissues. And this one is one. This plays super quiet. And what a joy to have this in the collection now. It was so much fun to take this out of the sleeve and put it on the turntable and play it yesterday for the first time instead of putting a CD on. And the same with this last album. I've been wanting this album forever. I mean, truly, this is like a grail. An original of this would cost me $1,000. I'm not paying that for an album. But the album is good. Musically, it's worth it, but it's very collectible. I'm not exactly sure why, except that it's on the Vertigo label. But the English band Cressida's first album. Been wanting this album for a minute. Really like this album. You know, musically, it makes sense when you hear this album, especially the way it ends, why it's really well loved. This is really good. It's progressive, but a lot like the Moody Blues, who I love. They recognize here with this label repertoire that this was original in Vertigo. English pressing Vertigo albums are very sought after and expensive. I only got a few. And this one came out on that label. But this is really beautiful. And I like the feeling of it. It's not so much relaxed, but kind of a calm confidence about the music. Yeah, this band sounds like a significant band, even though we really don't know who they are. Cressida. So finally, those came through. So happy. So happy. Before I go, I want to just share that listening to the news this morning, the unfortunate fact of this COVID thing is that it's far from over. Here in Nebraska, the numbers are still going up. We're up in the 900 infectious. We hadn't even reached 1,000 yet. We're reaching it now. South Dakota has blown up because of this one plant where the infection was exploded. So I am sad to say that this mess is far from over, and that, you know, all of the implications on life are really unfolding now. You know, the deep damage to the economy, which has to be figured out. You know, I mean, it is a fact that the economy is important. It's in jeopardy. The psychological effect of all this isolation, children not being able to interact the way, you know, with friends and all that. It's all coming home to roost. And then the whole inequity of the health system, where the rich and the privileged get different services than the rest of us, which ultimately will be our downfall if we don't address that. How poor people who don't have the luxury of space or services because of money, how the rich won't be able to escape that. The whole planet gets infected, which is what's happening. We're all fucked. So I just keep watching the news, praying that our leaders will come to their senses, but it's not happening. So I just drink coffee, stay in the house, and listen to music.